Hi, my name is Siver, and tonight we're going to talk about another book that I've written. I've written two books before, and they're up here on the screen. You'll see them occasionally pop up. But a new one that I'm just about finished with, and it's almost at the publisher, is called Your Name, and that's something that's been bothering me for a long time. Is how young parents teach their children the value of their name. As we all know, when we get older, no matter what we do, our name follows us, or it can precede us, depending on what we're doing and where we're at in our professional life. Your name, when you're young, sometimes can make or break you. If you get teased by a lot of people when you're young in school, your name is they'll pick on you. I don't know many parents, and I've done a lot of counseling over the years of families and young children. Most parents teach their children right from wrong, and that's a big important thing that they must do, and they do. They teach their children how to behave, how to not to cuss or talk in public, how to try to control themselves. But I don't know any parents that connect the child's name with that behavior or that attitude. And I think more parents need to encourage their children to learn their name, which they do, because that's what you call them, that's how they get addressed, but learn that your name has value. Without that value, you struggle through life. Now, we all struggle through lives on various issues we might have, drinking or driving or getting in trouble doing that, or whatever we do in our life sometimes doesn't work out for us. And that little bit that happens is attached to your name. Now, if you don't learn the value of your name at a very, very young age, and I'll give you an example. I've known babysitters that have been asked to go and sit at somebody's house and watch their child. Some babysitters won't go to certain homes because Johnny or Charlie or Susie or Sarah is a very misbehaved child, and parents enable the child all the time, spoil them. For whatever reasons, parents don't want their children to go through what they went through, or they want them to be better, or they want them to learn how to be free-willed young people, and that's all fine. But there needs to be some structure in the child's life, and they also need to learn that their name has value, good or bad. And we as adults need to help children understand that. Now, we understand it as adults sometimes too late in life. We get arrested, or we get fired from a job, or we get drunk and drive, or we get promoted and become a director of a company, or we become an executive, or we are very good at making money, or a good welder. Our name, whatever we do professionally, is attached to our name. And until we learn to understand that and appreciate that, our lives can be destroyed sometimes before we even realize what we've done. Do I want to do this today and have my name attached to it? Do I want to go out with this group? Come on, Mike, we're going to go out here tonight. We're going to go to the beach and have some fun and do this and blah, blah, blah. We've heard the stories. We hear them on TV all the time. Do I want to be involved with that? Am I able to control myself when I'm there? If trouble starts, am I able to not be part of it? Whether we like it or not, drinking in the United States is illegal till you're 21. That's the end of the story, bottom line. Good, bad, or otherwise, that's the law. Now, how many kids go out to the beach at night, seniors in high school, juniors in high school, young college guys and girls, and drink? Probably a lot more than we want to admit as adults. Why is that okay? And what happens when they get caught? What value is that of their name? Do they get into trouble and get drunk and get kicked out of college? Now there's starting to be a reputation attached to their name, that they may be very uncomfortable with. But it's too late, they've done it. How long does it take back? How long does it take to earn your reputation back, earn your name back, that allows you to apply for jobs, apply back into school, get back into school, pay off the student debt you may already have, all because you chose not to value your name. And you prioritized, I'd rather have some fun with my friends, go out and enjoy myself for the night, than have the consequences or worry or think about the consequences that are attached to my name. Now, this will be the third book that I've written, and the third one, Your Name, will be out here shortly, probably the next couple months. The other two, as you see on the screen, what role did I play, and why did I do that? Well, why did I do that can help destroy my name. That's a book that I've written that a lot of people are using, and right now the Veterans Administration is using it as a guide for groups that they're running at the VA. What role did I play? Well, what role did I play in maintaining the safety of my name? What role did I play to protect my name? How do we tie all these things together, and what makes them work? What are we going to do to keep our name where we can get a job when they do a background check, and today they do background checks on everything, and our name comes up clean? How can we help protect that? And we're going to talk about that. We have 3 more sections to go. They're going to be short sections of 7 minutes each, and we're going to try and cover some information about that in the next couple of sessions. Therefore, this session is over, and thank you very much. Are we back on, Bill? Okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. All right, I'll start my timer so I don't lose that. We're talking about your name and the value of it. We're going to keep going and talk about the value of your name and how you can maintain the, I don't want to say purity, but that would be a word you could use, in that when you grow up and become a father or a mother yourself, and then you have children, and your children, when they grow up or start to get in high school, middle school, or grade school, whatever it is, and somebody remembers you as the parent. Oh, you're so-and-so's son, or you're so-and-so's daughter. Boy, you're going to have a hard job. It must be rough at your house. They don't even know you. They don't know who you are or where you come from, but they know your name. Sometimes it's very hard to live down the name of the parent. And we don't think about that as young parents. What do we do, and what could we have done to change that? It all comes from the early days of our birth and our learning about what do we do to value your name? How do we teach that to our children? How do we ensure that they connect the dots from my name is so-and-so, and I don't want it to have a bad reputation? Now, a lot of times, by the time we recognize that, it's too late. We've already done something that can damage our reputation or damage our family. And bullying is a big part of that. You know, for some reason, people get picked on, and for some reason, there are bullies out there who feel it's their job to bully people who can't defend themselves. Because I can almost tell you, bar none, if a bully doesn't pick on a big person bigger than them. Bullies don't pick on people who can beat them up or hurt them. They pick on people smaller than them. Boys pick on girls, girls pick on other girls. For whatever reason, they may be disabled or wear glasses, kids find reasons to pick on each other. But when it goes to the level of bullying, and it doesn't stop, because the bully will spread your name all around, and people see what's going on. That's why part of the reason is we have so many young suicides of young kids that have their name wrecked, and they don't see any end to what's going to happen to them. They perceive that this is an ongoing thing and going to be ongoing for the rest of their lives. How does a young child, without some serious, and I'm not going to say parenting, but without some serious supervision or guidance of adults that can recognize what's going on, that can see the signs, because they're very hard to see. And kids hide that stuff because they think maybe they can take care of it and they can cover it up. Well, it doesn't work that way. It comes out all the time, and that's when so many young children get hurt. They start failing in school. They start feeling bad about themselves. They start being reclusive. They go into hiding, where they come home from school, they go to their room. And it becomes a behavior that starts slowly, and a lot of parents don't see the signs. They don't connect and think back, well, my son used to be, or my daughter used to be an outgoing, energetic, happy-go-lucky person, and now, it's been 6 months, they slowly got into this seclusious attitude, and all of a sudden we realize as parents, they're changed, they're different. How do we deal with that? We have to be more aware of our children. I mean, we have one job when we've decided to become parents, and that's to raise our children, to become role models, to become people that, and I've got this in both my books, and it'll be in the third one as well, when children think or asked to think of a person or persons who have integrity, loving and caring, they will automatically think of their parents first. That needs to be a foremost thought. As you saw, the first 2 books that I've written were up on the screen a second ago. And What Role Did I Play is becoming a very popular book, in that it's asking you, what role do you play in having your young wives or young children be aware of their name? And all through the book, and there's 52 chapters in that, What Role Did I Play? And it's for 52 weeks in the year to read a chapter and discuss it, either in group homes or in the families, if they'll do it. It's a lot to ask a family to read one chapter, and only 2-page chapters, sometimes 1-page chapter, to read the chapter and discuss it as a family. And it covers all the basic aspects of growing up. One chapter in there that I have is that it's called A Hammer and a Nail, and hammer and nail. And there's a saying that says, if everything you do in your life, and the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, everything you deal with is going to look like a nail. Well, what that means is you're going to start shouting at people. That's where bullies come from, domestic violence comes from. And that, again, do I want my name attached to that as an adult male? Do I want my children attached to that as children of an adult male who's earning a reputation about his name? We don't think often enough about the legacy that we're leaving our children with our name. It is so valuable that a lot of people, and usually it's the affluent ones, that value the reputation of their name, and that's so that they can get what they want and be proud of themselves of what they're doing. Well, we're going to stop for this section here and move on to the next section. Just 1 second. Hi again. We're back for the third show of Your Name. And I'm trying to get everybody to understand, and I've been working on this for a number of years, that I've been in as a therapist and a counselor about people to value their name. And if you don't have a value put on your name, then if you don't care about your name, who else is going to care about it? Why should I worry about your name if you don't worry about your name? If you don't care about your name, why should I? And your name is the only thing you've got with you that stays with you all of your life. Now you can change your name legally. Sometimes that works. Sometimes people have had such a bad reputation that they change their name and they relocate to somewhere else that doesn't know them. Now eventually that can be found out if you do enough stuff. People can do a background check on you, because changing your name can also be registered, so people can find out who you are. A lot of times you change your name, you keep the same Social Security number. So things can be found out. But your name, if you think when you have a job and your name is you're not going well, for whatever reasons, you're not suited for that job, whatever it might be. If you don't keep a good attitude about that, when you leave there and go look for another job, you're protected to a certain extent because corporations aren't allowed to call up and ask a lot of personal questions about people applying for jobs, for that simple reason, to protect your name. Because if you've done something or you made one person mad in that company and they write a bad report, well then whoever they talk to is going to read that same report, not understanding that it was a personal thing that got you fired, not a professional thing. So you want to be careful on your name. Keep in mind that at some points, if you're in a situation that you need to leave, or you be concerned about what's going to happen to you in the future, if you understand that protecting your name is the utmost importance, you may have to leave that corporation or leave that organization and leave where your name is still intact, because you can always recover from that. And we don't teach that to our children. And that's the part that bothers me and has bothered me for a long time, and I've dealt with a lot of families about that. And a lot of them have been very appreciative of bringing that to their attention, that they need to tell their young child, the 3 and 4 and 5-year-old, your name is so-and-so and you shouldn't be doing that. Then when they start to get a little older and they understand, you need to explain to them the value of their name. Your name is the most valuable asset that you have. Now you can wreck that, or you can keep that intact. And it doesn't mean because your name follows somebody else who maybe not have a good reputation, i.e. your mother or your father, that you have to be like them just because your name is like that. Because I've also heard, and we've all heard it many times, man, I feel sorry for so-and-so. He's got to follow in his father's footsteps. But you know, he's nothing like his father. He tries hard. He works hard. He's not lazy. His word is his bond. He has ethics. He has integrity. That's your name. And you're separating yourself with the same name from your father, who hopefully or maybe has a first name that's different. If he's not, well, you're going to have to deal with that. But it's so important for you to understand, as a young person growing up, the importance of your name. And I keep saying that over and over and over, but I hear so many kids who talk about their parents, or other kids talk about other kids' parents and how struggling the kids are, how hard it is for them to do anything because of their dad's name or their mom's name. And the same thing goes on if you're not careful about being a very successful person, and maybe you're a government employee or a policeman or a pastor is a big one. Pastors' kids, or PK kids as they call them, they struggle a lot because they're forced to, by community, to live up to their parents' position. Not necessarily their name, but their position. If your dad is a pastor and you're a boy or a girl, people are going to be careful around you because they know you might go back and tell your dad or tell your mom, and you are a person, they presume you to be a person who's not going to do all the stuff that they do. So there again, your name was attached to that. And I know several PK kids, preachers' kids, that have really struggled growing up under the auspice of being the son or daughter of a preacher. And yet the preachers don't talk to their kids about it. The ones that I've talked to haven't. And how do you engage your child in a conversation about, I'm the preacher of this town, and there's a certain standard going to be expected of us. Now, you may not like it, but that's the way it is. That's the reality of the life that we're living today, is you can't say, well, I'm not your son or I'm not your daughter, because you are. And everybody knows that, because you usually grow up in the same town. Not many preachers relocate very often. So everybody in town is going to know who you are. And sometimes that's hard for some kids that want to be a little exciting or be a little different. And it gets back to dad real fast as the pastor, because people can't wait to say and tell on their kids. Oh, your son was doing this, and your son was doing that, and your daughter was out doing this, and your daughter was out doing that. Next thing, you have this big family controversy going on about how to behave in public, and it's an undue pressure put on the kids. I think as parents of professionals, i.e. policemen and pastors and the equivalent, we have to somehow have a little latitude or understanding about allowing children to be children and still hold them accountable and explain to them what's going on. And sometimes it's very difficult to do if you're the son or daughter of somebody that's prominent in the community. Well, we've only got 5 seconds left on this session, so I'm going to wind it up here and wind it up with the next session. Well, hi again. It's Mike. I'm back again. And today we were talking about your name. And we have to understand, as parents of young children, how to balance allowing them to experience things, allowing them to make mistakes, but calculated mistakes, and mistakes that aren't going to destroy their lives or destroy what happens around them. We have to understand that we want them, and we need to teach them, and most parents don't. If you're a young parent out there and you happen to be watching this, please understand it's your responsibility to teach your child the value of their name and how it's going to affect them in the long term. And I'm talking 20, 30, 40 years from they are today. Now, are young kids going to worry about 30 years from now? No, of course not. But you need to start with a little step at a time, teaching them that the value of their name, that their name is so important to them, that they'll look after it and take care of it, and not do things that are going to destroy their name or make them have a name that people aren't going to want to be around. And it's a delicate conversation to have. It's difficult to have. I'm not going to sit here for 1 minute and say it's going to be easy, because at the same time you want them to have fun, make mistakes, climb trees, fall out of trees, as long as they don't get hurt. But they might. You have to be careful how you explain that, but you have to do it. And you have to find the opportunity to do it when they're going to listen to what you're saying, when they're going to listen to how you're trying to explain to them that right from wrong is also attached to their name. And you have to really get them to enjoy being young, at the same time control their behaviors and their attitude towards themselves and other people. And that's a tough one to do. So I think it'll come to most people if you just, as a young parent, sit down and talk with your spouse. Hopefully you have a spouse. If you haven't, maybe talk to somebody else, your mother or your father or somebody who's going to become part of your life until your child is old enough to understand what's going on. And maybe it's grandpa that needs to talk to him if you don't have a husband around. Or dads, if you don't have a wife around for whatever reason, and you have a young daughter, maybe grandma needs to talk to them, or a sister of yours, maybe one of their aunts has to come and talk to them and explain to them what it's like for a young lady to still have some fun in life, but also protect their name for when they get older, for when they have children, and the children have to grow up under their name. And you don't want that to be a cloud. You want them to understand that, you know what, my dad did this, and my mom did that. They were young, they made some bad decisions, they're now grown past that, they're okay today, and I'm not like them. A lot of parents, children can't say that until they become adults. It's when you have to learn how to control what you say and what you do when you're young, and not have children being the center of attention because of their name at school. And that still has never been taught. That's not part of, I think, parenting skills that's taught, or life skills that are taught to young people growing up to protect your name. Because I'm almost assured that if young people were taught to value their name, they would take that with them as they grow up, they would act accordingly, protect their name, at the same time keep it in play until they get old enough to have a wife or a husband of their own. Then they will pass that on automatically to the children. Now, if that were done on a regular basis, if we could start some kind of programming or understanding about that's how it's done, and I do it with the groups that I run, and I'm open to come and speak to groups. I speak to a lot of different groups around about this kind of stuff. What role did I play in my life to get into this situation? Or why did I do that? And the book asks a lot of questions after each chapter about why did I do the things that I do. And it keeps coming back to, in most cases, the children observing or seeing or hearing the parents behave the way they behave. And there's no reason in the world to expect a child to not soak up, which I write in the chapter on sponge, soak up the behaviors of the parents. They do. And why would they not? They only have the parents as role models while they're growing up. Home should be a safe and healthy place for children to be. And in most cases, it is. There's the odd ones out, and they're the ones that make the news, and that's the problem, because they're the ones that frighten everybody away. Not everybody's like the news, and very far from it, actually. They make the news blows up a lot of things that sometimes gets taken a little bit out of proportion, but that's a whole other story, a whole other TV show. Watching your children grow, maintaining their name, and a name attached to appropriate behavior is one of the best things you can do as a parent raising children. You can be a neglectful parent, and I don't even want to go there, be a neglectful parent. That's something else. We need to be parents with our children that are responsible, be a role model. We may not have a lot of the issues we're having today. There's a lot going on out there that, as most of us know, shouldn't be going on, but it is. There's lack of respect, lack of consideration, lack of concern about your environment or the people around you. Devalued life. We want to go back to revalue life. Revalue your name what it's attached to. Revalue the names of your sisters and your brothers and other people. Teach them how to value their name and make them become the most important person in their lives. They can pass that on. Thank you very much, and I hope this was all right for everybody. I'll talk to you later. We'll be back next week and do it again.